This morning as I was coming in, I was listening to NPR, and wouldn't you know that they were discussing, and someone is shaking their head, they were discussing, they had interviews with employers who have been, some have stopped, employing individuals with disabilities because of the tremendous impact they're seeing that the economy is having on their employment efforts for people with disabilities, because they're cutting back on their staff and they need to hire people who can do 5 or 6 jobs and not maybe just 1 or 2 jobs. So I thought that was so appropriate that I was listening to that this morning. So my first question is to the employers, and that question is, have you or had experienced having any impact of the economy? Has the economy in any way impacted your willingness to recruit and to hire individuals with disabilities? So whoever would like to respond to that.
In our company, actually, our commitment has been very strong, and we have actually increased our projection to hire more than currently in DC area and in our distribution centers in South Carolina, Anderson, we have our 43% of employees are people with disabilities, and we are planning to increase it to at least 10% of the population, the staff in all over the country. We have over 7,000 stores in multiple area of distribution centers.
Let's congratulate welcome. Other employers? Anybody else would respond? Okay, Richard.
All right, at Industries of the Blind, our mission is to provide opportunities for people who are blind, and we have 229 people there. 75% of the direct labor is blind, and we haven't seen a downturn. We rely on the government. We do contracts with the government, so as long as the government's there, we do very good business, along with the military, and we're getting projects all the time for the military. So we increase employment constantly.
Good.
It's good to be in technology, and we have not slowed down at all in the last several years, and we had in the last year hired another person from NCVR, and would continue to do so. They have some great applicants with great job skills, and if they fit our needs, then they're on board.
So we know how important it is for the employers to be committed and actually walking the talk about their commitment. So I would like to ask a similar question to those associates who are working for these employers, and it's somewhat connected to the economy as well. Some of you, if not all of you, are working side by side, oftentimes with people whose families have lost their jobs in other companies. So has this impacted your relationship with associates that you're working with in your companies, the fact that some of their family members who might not have disabilities have lost their jobs and you are still employed? Has that in any way impacted, if at all, your relationships? Who would like to respond? One of the associates. Someone working for one of those companies. Hold on.
At our company, we have a situation where a lot of family members have lost their jobs. And what it's done for us, it's drawn us closer. We do special things for them if they need money, if they just need just talking to from time to time. We kind of lean. We get real close together as a family, and that's what we like to say. We're in interest of the blind, our family. So if you're out of work, then if that's something we can do to help you, we're willing to do that.
Thank you. Any other employee want to respond? Okay, one other question, and this is also for the employees or associates. I like associates, right? For some reason, they're associated with us. So, have you, and if you have, what barriers did you encounter in trying to gain employment when you first began?
I realized when I first stood up, I don't know if I even mentioned what my disability was, and I have two prosthetic legs I lost in Iraq. I worked as a police officer, and I went over to work as a contractor for about 14 months, and I got injured and I came back. And the original plan was that I was going to get my job back. That was always the plan. But after I was injured, I figured that was pretty much off the table. And the department basically told me as long as I could pass the obstacle course, they had no reason not to hire me back. So it was amazing. I don't know how many departments would have given me that chance. But my barriers obviously were physical. Passing the obstacle course was the main goal that I had to achieve. But there was also some other barriers, obviously, but main was physical. But the support base that I had was truly unbelievable. From the department, from family, from friends, from people who saw my story on the news, and I was getting cards and letters from Virginia and South Carolina. So it was truly amazing. But I think that's one of the biggest things is a good support group. But as far as employers, they've been absolutely wonderful for me. They got everything set. I remember when the chief sat me down, and we were talking about what kind of car I was going to drive, because I can't drive without hand controls. And they cost about, I think it was about $500. And so I sat there and I was thinking about how I was going to try to sell this and what I was going to say. And I had my big spiel ready to go. And before I could say anything about a car, the chief said, "Yeah, we got your car out back. It's got the hand controls in it. It's ready to go." So it was amazing. I didn't expect that. They truly, opened doors and welcomed me back. So it was huge for me.
Not sure if it will be. Let's try.
I had situations of just having a really hard time finding a job, going through utilizing the tools to actually find employment, and Voc Rehab was able to close some of the weaknesses of my disability, which is ADD, and so I appreciated that.
Thank you. One other question, this time to the employers, and that is, we've heard what some of the barriers can be, and we know that there are many. And we just heard just a small piece of that this morning. But what really, other than, let's say, this being a federal requirement, what really helped you consider hiring someone with a disability?
We're a small business with about 30 employees, and in all honesty, we were very hesitant at first when Rhonda came to us. And the main considerations were financial. The amount of time and money you put into training an employee, a productive employee, can be expensive. And if you have a lot of turnover, it's extremely costly. Boy, were we wrong with Kevin. We got Kevin in. He fell right into our system. We are more of a company that would prefer to hire good people that fits our group versus someone who doesn't have the skills that we require to start. Kevin's done a tremendous job for us, and jokingly this morning I told Patty, I said, we'll take another dozen just like it. So, I think a lot of the barriers that we envision just weren't there. It just wasn't reality. He's a tremendous employee for us, and he's extremely productive, bottom line wise. And that's what it is in the business.